Bet Rivers presents Jimmy Ott's Game Time on 1045 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Solo shot for the Angels. They now have the lead, their first lead of the game in the fourth inning, 3-2, 20 in a row. Losses for the Baltimore Orioles. 19 of those 20, they have failed to cover the 1.5 run line. Brandon Stokely, the latest addition to the Bet Rivers family, joins us right now. Brandon, how are you?
I'm doing good, buddy. How you doing, Jimmy?
Doing pretty good, man. Do you watch the Monday night game, preseason Jacksonville and the Saints?
Yeah, you know, I tuned into it a little bit. Definitely watched the beginning, and Jameis looked great. But preseason. After, the starters start coming out, it's kind of hard for it to hold my attention. But, yeah, I certainly watched the early parts of that game.
It's easy to criticize now, Brandon, as far as, using your second first-round pick on a running back. But, I'm not a general manager, but I know the easiest position to translate to the next level of football from high school to college to pro is running back. And, man, you're going to tell me, here's your most prized asset. They're not going to try and protect him with some draft picks. They're going to. You think they're one player away and a running back away? Give me a break. I don't know about this, about Urban Meyer, man, with this NFL experience.
It's going to be interesting, Jimmy, to see how it plays out. Certainly it looks like a disaster right now, but they're trying to rebuild that whole organization. They're trying to flip that thing over. Sometimes it takes time, but certainly you look at the Travis Etienne pick, and, him getting hurt doesn't help. Should you go on offensive line? Playmakers around a quarterback, you don't have to always get linemen. If you get good skill position guys, a good running game, a good running back out of the backfield, obviously that's a positive for a young quarterback. But unfortunately for Travis, he got hurt. And we'll see. I guess we'll see how it plays out, over the next few years. But it hasn't been a great start for Urban Meyer.
Well, what did you think when, here's Joe Burrow hurt, and Joe's going to be good. And, you talk about a difference, him in and out. But, Zach Taylor put him in the most straight dropbacks out of any quarterback last year. He got hit more, and then he's got multiple ligament repair, and he's not right now coming back. They announced that he might try and play the last preseason game. They're rushing that timeline back. You tack on 2 months to a normal ACL repair.
Right.
But what was your thoughts when they drafted Jamar Chase ahead of Penei Sewell?
Yeah, that's one of those things. I was a little bit surprised. I thought they were going to try to protect them a little bit more, but they brought in a free agent. I think it was a guy from Minnesota. They had drafted the offensive lineman from Alabama a year or so ago. So I think they feel good about the direction they're heading up front and wanted to get in more playmakers. But they had a good young wide receiver group over there in Cincinnati. So that was a little bit of a head scratcher. But, hopefully Jamar Chase does some good things this year. Seems like he's had the drops early in camp. But it's tough. It's tough for young football players, making that transition from college to the NFL. So sometimes it takes a little bit of time for that game to slow down. A lot's thrown at you early on. So, we'll see how it plays out. Those things take a couple years to see, and hopefully, but you got to protect these young quarterbacks. You got to give them time. You need a good running game, but it starts up front with offensive line. If you don't have an offensive line, these young quarterbacks are going to struggle.
You think Patrick Mahomes just forgot how to play quarterback in the Super Bowl?
That's right. He saw the pressure.
Yeah, he's running for his life. And I saw. Trevor Lawrence I think he's going to be good. I think it's just a matter of how good. I think he could be anywhere from a solid starter to a Hall of Famer. But man, they gotta help him out. He's gonna. Brandon, here's the thing. They won one game last year, all right? He's still a rookie. We were trying to compare it and contrast it to maybe Peyton Manning's rookie season with the Colts when they went 3-13. I'm looking at the 6.5 over-under win total. Keep in mind, it's a 17-game schedule this year. I'm looking at that game Monday night, and I'm just like, there's so many. That roster is so bad. How are they going to win 7 games?
Right. Yeah. I didn't know it was that high. And you watch them play. Now, they had a couple linemen out, I do believe. I don't know whether
they had 2
coming back. Yeah. But man, they looked awful. They looked awful. And it's not easy to, go from 1 win to 7 wins, especially when you got a young quarterback. I don't care if he's the number 1 pick overall or not. He's going to go through probably a little bit of growing pains here, and that's a big jump. That's a big jump, Jimmy. I'm just telling you. I might have to jump on that here in a second. I'm going to get on that Ben Rivers account and jump on that thing here in a second, Jimmy.
Get on it, man. Get on it. So, for sure.
Sounds like you're on it, so I might as well join the party.
That's right. And I think the Lions are in trouble as well. I mean, it took they covered the 6.5 on Saturday night, but all they needed was a 2nd and 30 defensive holding, a recovered onside kick, a 4th down conversion. That's all they needed to backdoor that thing. So, but what about that?
That's the Lions for you.
Yeah, what about that guy? We know about their history, but, I mean, some of the goofy comments. I usually stay away from sound bites. 95% of sound bites mean nothing, but I can't help but, we're going to scratch the knee plates or whatever. I don't, I don't know, man. It looks like, are they just throwing him out there to the Lions because they're just rebuilding and they're almost tanking?
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out, If they lose and they look like, the Lions have looked here over the last few years, you'll look at Dan Campbell and you say, man, what a mess he is. And you'll go through all his sound bites. If they win, you say, hey, what a great motivational guy this guy is. He knows how to motivate this football team. And so it all comes down to wins and losses. And certainly they got a lot to do there. They got to rebuild that culture. They got to rebuild that football team. And so it's just starting. It's going to take a few years before they can try to get their head above water there in Detroit. But it's going to be interesting to see if those tactics and his approach work.
Yeah, I mean, at the college level, a couple of guys in the Big Ten, Tom Allen at Indiana and P.J. Fleck at Minnesota, that's about as goofiest stuff I've ever heard come out of a coach's mouth. But they win and they're good.
That's
so, they glorify it. They go, man, he loves his players. What else,
Right.
So, hey,
it's great when it works. When you win, it's great.
Yeah, winning cures everything. No doubt. Hey, you mentioned Jamar. That surprised me that he had sort of the drop season and carried over to the last preseason game against the Redskins or the Washington football team. And then this week, boy, he's kind of got it going. I've been paying attention to some of the Twitter from the beat writers from the Bengals. He's going, I've seen this guy do it, and not just do it at the college level, but do it against first round, second round, third round cornerbacks that were taken in the draft. And that's just where they're drafted. But, when Joe would say, hey, he's got single coverage, we go on to him. Y'all figure it out for yourself. But we have an automatic check. If he's single covered, we're going to Jamar every time. Some of the things that he's going through maybe in training camp without mostly Joe Burrow throwing to him.
Yeah, it's a big adjustment, learning a new offense, seeing new defenses. The NFL game's different. College, you're kind of running all over the football field, especially when you're on a talented team as LSU had a couple years ago. It's just hard to cover everybody. That's usually not the case in the NFL. So you got to get used to running, better routes, making different adjustments. You're thinking a little bit more, and that's the hard part. You got a huge playbook. You're thinking about all the adjustments, and you're going up against, the best of the best in front of you, and you're trying to get open. So, and then all of a sudden the football's thrown to you. You're like, oh, I got to catch it. And once you start dropping a couple, right, it's a mental game. It's overcoming that mental hurdle. So, it takes time sometimes. It's no need to panic if he's struggling a little bit with drops or whatever the case may be. That's just that learning process that a lot of young guys have to go through.
Broncos announced Teddy's a starter today. Did it surprise you?
No, I've been Teddy the whole time, stayed Teddy. Last week a lot of everybody was starting to switch. That was on Teddy. They were going to Drew because he played well against Minnesota. I stayed the course, Jimmy, and doubled down, and it's paid off. To me, it's been obvious that it should be Teddy the whole time. He's a veteran quarterback. They need that veteran presence. They got a lot of young offensive pieces. And so I just thought that's where they were going to head. And Teddy played really well this preseason. So Drew did some good things. He improved, but just not quite enough. They needed more of a veteran quarterback in that room leading that offense. And to me, it was Teddy the whole time. And we'll see. We'll see how it goes. But I think that was the right choice for the Broncos.
Yeah, I thought it was. I didn't think it was going to be this close when they first signed Teddy, and when you get hit with the Von Miller, news before you even tee it up last year, I mean, they were going uphill the whole season. But you tell me if I'm right. It does appear, and I'm not alone. There's others that think this too. That there's a roster with just solid quarterback play, and I think that Teddy's going to give them that this is a winning football team this year.
Yeah, it should be. They got a lot riding on this season. They've had 4 straight losing seasons in a row, and that's not typical Broncos football. So you look at the roster, you look at this defense. I mean, it should be a great defense. That secondary, it should be as good as any secondary in the NFL. Offensive line is really good. They should be able to run the football, and they got playmakers. Jerry Jeudy, Noah Fant. We'll see about Cortland Sutton's knee injury coming back from last year. But Melvin Gordon, Javonte Williams, the rookie out of North Carolina, running the ball in the backfield. They got a lot of weapons offensively. Quarterback, just make a few plays, don't screw it up, and let the defense and the running game win it for you.
8.5 is the win total. 9 and 8 is the winning record. So there we go.
Yep.
There we go.
I like what you're thinking right there, Jimmy.
Yeah. Well, Fangio too seems to be solid coach.
Yeah, he's on the very hot seat.
Okay.
2 losing records in a row. They only won 5 games last year. He's lucky to get year 3. So, it's one of those things where he's got to win. And it's put up or shut up time in Denver for Vic, and he knows that. He's fortunate to get year 3. A lot of people thought he should be gone. I'm glad that he gets one more year to try to get this thing back going. Broncos need consistency and continuity at the coaching position. And so he's here for year 3. He's got an opportunity, but he's going to have to probably get to 9 wins to save his job and to see year 4.
Did you see Zach Wilson Saturday for the Jets?
I saw he had a nice game. I didn't watch it. I saw his stat line. I saw he had a nice game.
Well, he gets rid of the ball, Brandon. I mean, it just, it comes out quickly. And I was worried about that because BYU, he was a little jittery in his sophomore season. Kind of like first look and kind of run type of guy,
right.
And last year's, they had a great team, but they lost. They weren't in a conference. They were the COVID season. Everybody was playing conference games only. I mean, they were so much better than everybody they played. How can I evaluate how good he is? But he looks comfortable. He's getting rid of it quick. Yeah, they're going to have different looks and try and confuse him and pressure him and rattle him and on. I get that, but just getting the ball out quickly, that part of it, he seems really, really good.
Yeah, it's so hard to evaluate these quarterbacks to begin with, and then you take last year into consideration and, who was playing, who wasn't playing, all of these different things. And so it's really a crapshoot. And, can they transition to the NFL? Some guys can, some guys can't. But right now it looks early on like he can process that information quickly and get rid of the football quickly. Now we'll see. I don't know, who they were playing against, and were those guys playing their first stringers? Were they playing backups? All that matters. We'll see how he looks when the lights really come on week 1. But it's still early. It's still early for all these guys. There's going to be growing pains. You got to stick with it. You got to face the adversity, fight through it, just like anything in life. But especially these young football players, you're going to hit some rough spots throughout the season. And the good ones that end up fighting through it, figuring it out, the ones that are going to make it just, kind of fall by the wayside.
Any teams in the NFL, we're looking at win totals, and I won't tie you down to any picks today. We got 2 more weeks to do that. But any teams that you think will exceed expectations or teams that won't live up to expectations in the NFL?
Well, I like your Jacksonville one. Yeah, I like that one. I look at Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay is a team to me that I think is going to be great this year. I mean, they're going to be great, Jimmy. I mean, they got everybody returning. You talk about an underrated defense. People figured out in the Super Bowl that defense was real. When you have a front 7 like they have a front 7, it can cause havoc for other teams. Tom Brady, he wasn't healthy last year. He had that messed up knee. He's back healthy. That offense in year 2 should be better than what we saw last year. I think they're going to be great this year.
And the 2 divisions, the NFC South is lined up, are 2 of the weaker divisions, and they're playing a second-place schedule. The Saints won the division.
Exactly. You put all that together, and that says to me Tampa is going to be great. They're going to have a great regular season.
12 is the over-under right now. All right, man. Well, great stuff as always. Follow Brandon on Twitter at bstokely14, at bstokely14. I can still see him, and catching that first touchdown for the Ravens in the Super Bowl, man, to break the ice, huh?
The good old days, Jimmy. The good old days.
I'm still trying to figure out why Ron Dane only had 0 carry. How did he have 0 carries?
That was a big man. I don't know. I'm not quite sure. I'm glad it worked out that way.
He had 35 carries in the NFC Championship games. The over-under is like 5 on his carries for the game. Somebody knew something. He didn't get a carry. Brandon, thank you, man. We'll talk to you soon.
All right, my man. Appreciate it, Jimmy. Take care, buddy.
All right, that's Brandon Stokely. He's with us, a regular contributor. We're trying to exactly find out. I mean, he's going to be on at least once or twice a week as we do this stuff. And, man, he is a great addition because, I mean, he's born in a football family. Dad played at LSU. His coached him at ULL. And, man, he is just – he's a football guy, and he's candid as well. Can't grow up in Lafayette and not be candid. Have a little charisma as well. Hey, don't forget our friends over at United Community Bank, the local way to bank big. Yes, indeed, my friends at United Community Bank. Running a business can be difficult enough without the right relationship with your bank. With United Community Bank's local business bankers, you're not just a number, you're a partner. Contact Mark Juno, Heath Meir, Nicole Glover, David Henry, and Prentice Wilkes and discuss how we can help your business today. United Community Bank, the local way to bank big, with locations from Baton Rouge to Golden Meadow. We've been serving the people of Southern Louisiana for over 50 years. United Community Bank, the member FDIC, equal housing lender. Scoreboard, we come back. Things are popping in Camden. Game time presented by Bet Rivers on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Bet Rivers presents Jimmy Ott's Game Time on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
All right, here's your scoreboard. Shohei Ohtani has just given up his 3rd home run of the game, a solo shot, and now a 2-run shot, and they have cut the Angels' lead in half. Was 6-2, now 6-4. Angels had scored 6 unanswered against the in Chase, the Ole Miss kid, pretty early. So 6-4, bottom of the 4th inning. Angels on top, but the Orioles and Ohtani. You got to go back to where he didn't even last the first inning, the Yankees, to where he's gotten hit this hard. Since July 1st, his ERA has been 1.5. Not tonight. Orioles tagging him pretty good for 3 home runs. Critical situation at Citi Field in New York. Mets with the bases loaded and 2 outs. Had a little bit of a mound visit with Johnny Cueto, but they keep him in the game. He's 2-0 to Jeff McNeil here in the no, that's McNeil on deck. Who was in the batter's box? So Mets on bases loaded, 2 outs, 2-0 count. Jake Latz kind of hanging in there. 5th inning, 1-0 Cleveland in the top of the 5th inning. Twins 2-0 over the Red Sox in the top of the 4th. They could have scored a lot more. Phillies blew their chances to get Zach Wheeler some more runs, and now they're paying for it because they are down now. Rays taking a lead, and they dropped the ball in left field on him. Not pretty routine play. It was an error for sure. But Rays on top 3-1, but they have pulled Yarborough just now with the runner on in only the 4th inning. Says now it's 2-1 now, the count to the Mets in bottom of the 5th. That is 1-0 Giants. Chris Bryant, home run there. Toronto's tied it up. It is 1 apiece now in the Rogers Center. Great pitching matchup between Robbie Ray and Lucas Giolito. The Pirates get a sacrifice fly and a run, so they break the scoreless tie. 1-0 Pirates as they go to the top of the 5th or the 6th. That is the top of the 5th. Top of the 5th there. And Washington and Miami. Miami is on top 1-0 at the end of 4. Keep it right here before we go to this break. 3-1. 3-1 is the count. That is Pete Alonso, the home run derby champ, at bat against Cueto. Bases loaded, 2 outs. The 3-1 is lifted high and probably out of play. Buster Posey gives it a look, but it's back in the stands, and it will be full now. Colorado, on the strength of a Connor Joe grand slam, has a 6-5 lead in the top of the 6th inning at Wrigley Field. That game is the second half of a 7-inning doubleheader. Cubbies on a 3-run bomb win it 5-2 in game 1. So Roscoe's with us in just a little bit. Tomorrow over at Red Stick Social, Charlie will be subbing for me. EJ's got his jamboree. So Episcopal's playing Ascension Catholic tomorrow, so he gets to start. So I'm proud of him, happy for him. He gets to play as a sophomore, so really good stuff there. So Roscoe will be with us in just a second. Got some really good guests on the Rewind today. Here's the 3-2 to Alonso. It is hit, fouled back again, so it'll stay 3-2. And the runners, as they're forced with a 3-2 count with 2 outs, will all be on the move. So one more pitch before we go to Roscoe, whether it's fouled or not. So we're at Magnolia Bluffs Casino and Hotel in Natchez, Mississippi. Man, they putting the finishing touches, just a matter of days or a couple of weeks, that the new sports book, it's almost a third of all of our gaming space devoted to this sports book and grill. And there's TVs in the dining area. The TV setup is unbelievable. It's really, really an awesome setup. There's a wow factor to it. No doubt about it. So you got to check it out. Here's Alonso with a grounder to third. Chris Bryant with it up and easily. But the throw is wide. Pulls the first baseman off of the bag. And so everybody is safe. And the game is now tied at 1 apiece. Cueto will now be pulled, and McNeil will come up. But could have been out of the inning as Alonso grounded to third. But an E5 there by Chris Bryant keeps the inning alive. Roscoe's with us when we return. Game time presented by Bet Rivers from Magnolia Bluffs and Natchez on 1045 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Bet Rivers presents Jimmy Ott's Game Time on 1045 ESPN Baton Rouge. ESPN Rewind, brought to you by Tex Morris and Edward Jones Investments, making sense of investments. Jefferson across from Town Center. Get a game plan today. 928-8659.
All right, got to move quickly. Roscoe, you just heard the Moscona with the promo about the announcement of the 2024 season opener, doing a kickoff opener. They'd start this year in Las Vegas with BYU and Arizona. But LSU and USC, what comes to mind when you hear that announcement?
A few years too late.
That's it? Not excited about it?
No, I am excited, but it would have been nice to have that in 2000. But 2003. We'd have thumped them, and then they'd been, because that USC team would not have beaten us.
You don't think so?
No, I know so. They didn't want no heat like that, man.
That was a good defense, boy.
Yeah, they didn't want that.
Tough.
You got to think. Look at all the guys that. The key guys on that team was Mike Williams, Reggie Bush, Matt Leinart, all those. None of those guys.
Great offensive line. Mm-hmm. Great offensive line. That's what everybody forget. That line, all of those guys were pros, and the defense that year was not the best. They kind of got a lot better defensively the next year, but no, they Interesting. All right, we got the Rewind, and Bobby Hebert's on with T-Bob this morning talking about Jameis Winston.
And with Taysom Hill, he's been too inconsistent. Sometimes he short arms those long throws, and he'll underthrow them. And, he has the arm strength to do it. But with Jameis, and I always tell quarterbacks this. I used to tell this to Jeff George, and he was a John Elway type arm. You don't have to put it on the receiver if they're 50, 60 yards down the field. How about you put enough air under it so they can track the ball and run it down like Deontay Harris?
Yeah.
How can you overthrow Deontay Harris? The trajectory of the ball, Jameis Winston would throw it 2 on the line. I go, you got to put the ball up in there. And the reason why I know that, I threw to world-class Brennan and Mark Super Duper. I'm throwing bombs to Anthony Carter. Just going all the receivers, and they say, oh, they must really work on that. Look at the timing. No, all I did was drop back and just anticipate the angle they're going to run by the defensive back and just let them run into the ball, then you look good.
Bobby's great, huh, Roscoe?
No, yeah. He's always very entertaining. I enjoy listening to him. But I guess I don't. I mean, to me, I guess that I didn't think that. I thought that Jameis was kind of putting those balls, out where the receivers had a chance to make a play on them.
I thought he threw away from the coverage too. Look, man, there's no denying Jameis Winston's arm talent. I mean, it was feast or famine. I mean, he did when he threw those 30 interceptions. He led the league in passing. So I mean, he was drafted. He's got arm talent. He didn't lose a game he started till his last one in the Rose Bowl against Oregon in the semifinal. But Denver announces a starter. Jacksonville announces a starter. Well, why is Peyton? I mean, if you want to do the quarterback battle, but man, you can't be giving up number one reps now. You're starting to affect the season.
Man, Peyton, again, I'm saying if you can't after what you saw Monday, if he still thinks that it's because he's again, and you don't say, "Oh, Roscoe, stop." Taysom Hill is his pet. And he promised his pet he would give him, all the camp or whatever. He doesn't want to hurt his pet's feelings right now.
No, in this area, absolutely. But I never thought for 1 second that he was going to pick Taysom Hill over Jameis Winston, no matter what the results were in the preseason. That wasn't going to happen.
It almost seems like maybe if it's because look on the Monday night, it's like, they're both going to get about 25 plays. I mean, Jameis got 17 plays. They pull him out because they've seen enough. And then they take them in, play him a quarter and a half, and it's, whatever. Why are you giving Taysom Hill's first team reps in practice at this point? It's ridiculous.
No, you're hurting the team now. Now, if you want to be concerned for his feelings, that's all right. You appreciate it. I mean, how do you not love? Coaches love guys like Dave. Hey, just give me something to do. I'll do it. He embraced all that stuff. He came in as a quarterback into the league, but he embraced any role he had. I mean, you're not that good at all those different roles if you don't just give it to me. I don't have to be the star. And yeah, the coach loves that, and I know he appreciates it. But man, they got to get. Winston hasn't started a game with this team. He needs reps. Here's Hunt and Hill, Marlon Favorite talking about LSU coming off a 5-5 season.
Well, I think the chemistry is right where it needs to be. You have a healthy group of coaches. You talk about new coaches coming in particular Coach Jones coming in from the Vikings, bringing that professional feel that the Tigers tend to keep here in Baton Rouge. And I see how the players are receiving him. Even at the camps this summer, the high school camps, the players, he got fired up. The players got fired up. And I'm loving that energy, what I'm hearing, coming from there as well. And you look at that year last year, Hunt, and, we had some moments last year in that booth with me, you and Brandon about some of the loss that we had. Look at the season at the end of the day, and you see the silver lining in the cloud. And it's like, hey, here's a team that looks like a wreck. Looks like we're going to lose. Thought we were going to win 2 or 3 games. We end up going 500 and going into the season, particularly watching the guys this spring with a team that has the chemistry and the coaching staff to get it done. So I'm excited to see that for sure.
Roscoe?
Well, I agree. And, from everything you're hearing, it's just just talking to people, you listen. It was such a debacle over there last year, and there was no leadership. There's no, and that's shame. That should never happen. I understand a championship hangover, but obviously there was a lot of I don't give a blank over there, and that was at the top all the way down, and it festered. And then you had coaches that came in and just that just really didn't connect with the players. So now all this is now you're saying, okay, we had the spring, we all together, we all on the same page. You need to go out and you need to play with your hair on fire, with a chip on your shoulder, and they need to beat UCLA by 3 touchdowns. I mean, they need to. If on paper that game should not be close. I mean, most of these guys they're starting for UCLA, they weren't recruited as highly as these LSU guys. The talent should be valleys apart. LSU got to go out there, get on their mind, and just play with their hair on the fire, play with a chip on their shoulder, and beat the hell out of UCLA. That's what I want as a fan, to tell me everything's okay. If they go out there and it's close and they win by a field goal I'm still going to have worries.
You talked about, like it was the pandemic and it was a championship hangover, but you still, I agree with that. But, just like, let me make an analogy for you. Like Taysom Hill has embraced all of his new roles that he never thought he would be doing when he entered professional football. I was really surprised. Now, you tell me genuine or sarcasm here, but I was really surprised because the coaching staff had to handle a lot of different roles with everything that's going on with pandemic and socially and everything else. And who better to adapt and be flexible than Bo Pelini? Huh? That's a little sarcasm. There you go.
I know.
All right.
I mean, I was losing my mind. I was like, man, go ahead.
Go ahead. We'll finish what you said. What?
I was going to say that was right up there with what I feel about your quarterback evaluation.
Let's go. Russ Mitchell was on with Matt talking about LSU's overrated.
What about the Fighting Tigers of LSU?
I think they're overrated too.
You think they're overrated at 13 and 16?
I have LSU 4th in the West this year.
Okay, I was looking at the preseason top 25 where the AP has them at 16 and coaches have them at 13. Do you think that's overrated, or do you think that's about right?
I think it's still overrated. There's just too many question marks at quarterback. There's too many question marks. I think LSU might be one of the most talented teams in the country. So, with arguably outside of, Alabama and Clemson and Ohio State, there's probably just as much NFL talent, if not more. The question is, are they going to put it all together? And if you think they are, you're just guessing, because there's just coming off of last year. And now with Brennan getting hurt, you're looking at a schedule that's got Alabama, A&M, a really improved Ole Miss team, and Auburn. How many of those do you think you're going to win? At best, you're 2-2. More than likely, it's 1-3. If you're 9-3 and you get blown out by Alabama, A&M, and maybe Auburn or Ole Miss, well, how does that look for Ed?
Well, LSU overrated, Roscoe?
Russ Mitchell needs a turn in history. See, these are the things that, and I don't know him, and I don't really want to say anything bad, but that's when you got these national guys, and that's when they show their clown show. You just said, they might be one of the most. I think they're one of the most talented teams in the league, but they could get blown out by Ole Miss and Auburn and A&M, and LSU's got questions at quarterback. A&M's quarterback has never started a game. He's thrown 5 passes, Russ. Come on, man. It's shock jock. It's cool to say LSU is down because, that's a cool thing to say. Man, I don't know, Matt.
How much
I would never have him on my show again with coming up with foolishness like that.
How much is that people are uncertain about Orgeron?
No, it's all about Orgeron. And, it's all about Orgeron, and it's his fault. It's a lack of maturity as far as him being a head coach and some of the things he's done. He gives these guys too much. I think that it's him because they still think he's a goofball from Ole Miss. They won't say it to his face, but that's what they think. And they think that everything, he got lucky and got Joe Burrow. That's fine. But now Orgeron's got to prove it. Because really and truly, he's been coached for 4 seasons, and he's had 2 mediocre seasons and 2 really good ones.
Well, Ryan Day didn't get lucky, and you get Justin Fields.
Well, but you know what?
Let me finish. Let me finish for a second. It's just 2 seconds. But that was considered the best team they've ever had at Ohio State before they lost in the semi to Clemson.
You preaching to the choir. I think a lot of these guys get passes. I mean, Lincoln Riley, man, you're playing one of the easiest conferences ever, and you still can't win. You can't win a playoff game. Get blowed out in playoff games. But these guys, they get the guys that they like. Ryan Day, whatever. He's one of the guys that it can relate to him. So they give him a pass. They give Lincoln Riley pass. But Ogeron, he's a Cajun. He's la la la. They make fun of him behind his back, whatever. And then anytime they get to take a shot at him, they do. So these guys, man, I don't have any respect for any of you. I got Danny Cannell tweeting out they named Haynes King the starter at A&M. He said, A&M, with naming of Haynes King as the starter, A&M is a lock to beat Alabama. Come on, man. Come on, man. Guys throw 5 passes.
Relief windows. If you live
can go 10 yards down the field.
We got to go. Relief windows. You live in a neighborhood that requires wood windows. Guess what? They're not cheap. So you make this a one-time cost, and not every 5, every 10, every 15 years. A one-time cost with gelled windows that have a lifetime guarantee. Call Relief Windows at 288-8138 and visit them and check out their gel windows and doors at reliefwindows.com. I had them. They did 2 different windows for me. Came out perfect. Came out, did the consultation did a rendering on the computer right there on site. Set up and ordered the window. When it comes in, they'll call you up and set up an installation time and date on time. Call you 30 minutes. We're on our way. The whole thing. Very, very professional. Very good stuff. And perfectly satisfied. Relief Windows and reliefwindows.com. 288-8138. Wrap it up after this. Game time presented by Bet Rivers from Magnolia Bluffs Casino in Natchez, Mississippi.